you get too many check system inquiries, automatic denial. If
Wow.
you get too many cards within a certain length of time, automatic denial. So sometimes you'll get denied, you'll be getting denied before you apply.
And you're wondering why, but it's because it's the little things that we just don't know.
If you're looking to get funding for your business right now, you're right in time. I'm super excited about these special guests I'm going to be interviewing today. Their YouTube channel is taking off, but it's not about the channel. It's more so about the information that they're giving people, especially business owners just like you that are looking for business funding. Well, listen, they don't have a lot of time and I don't want to take too much of it away. So I want to introduce you all to Marvin and Gloria Smith. Marvin and Gloria, can you guys hear us okay?
Yes, we can. How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. All right, awesome, awesome. Well, listen, I know you guys carved out a portion of your time today just to drop some gems to the audience. And listen, I don't want to hold up too much of you guys' time, but we got to know who you are, okay? We know you guys are growing on YouTube and you're helping a lot of people get business funding. But how did you all find yourselves actually helping so many people get into business funding for their businesses?
Well, it happened years ago. Actually, I had bad credit for the first time in my life. And I had asked my banker, I was like, look, I'm having trouble with my credit, but, I'm able to, still talk to her. And I was like, how did you get me all of those loans? And so she let me keep the bank product book, the actual book they teach the bankers with. And I started reading it and I was like, look, can I bring you clients and help them get approved? And I did my own thing as far as charging it. She was like, yeah, Marvin, sure. And so actually that was the start of it years ago.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Isn't that something?
I married into it. So I was lucky enough to marry into the situation and marry and then you learn fast.
Absolutely. I was just going to ask about that as well. So that's amazing because again, like you said, a lot of people they never get their hands on something, like the bank product books and things of that sort and actually learning behind the scenes, as well. Well, listen, I know that we all know a lot of people, especially on YouTube, everyone's talking about, or at least trying to figure out how to get business funding without having any docs. But what I love about what you all are talking about is that you all are actually showing people that not only can they get more funding, right? But there's actually a much easier process if you do have the docs needed, in which when you think about it, most businesses have these docs anyway. Now, I can't explain it as good as you guys can, but if you guys wouldn't mind, break down to just regular business owners how they can go into getting business funding and actually having all of their documentation. And what documentation do they need?
Right. So one of the things, Marvin and I took the time out to do a lot of studying, digging into this because we're business owners as well. We own multiple businesses and one of our businesses is a restaurant and we know that we needed to raise the capital for our restaurant. We have a restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia, and we needed to raise all the capital for that restaurant. So we developed relationships with banks. So now we have actually a direct contact that is showing us, hey, this is what I need from the client. Right. So we have programs where there are no docs, but you're capped at a certain amount. It's 50,000 and under. But if you want to get to the big money, you need to have docs. And why not produce docs when you should be having them anyway?
Yeah, and it can be as simple as just bank statements sometimes.
Yeah.
Wow. So let me get this straight. People are they're chasing these no doc programs. And what you're saying is sometimes all they want to see is bank statements.
Yeah, it could be a situation like that. It's a combination. The client, if they have great credit, it's less docs. If you have trouble credit, they're going to want more. And we're talking about things like tax returns, bank statements, pay stubs, things that business owners should have anyway. And I think the biggest trouble we see with most business owners is they're not organized. They may be great at what they do, but they're not great at the paperwork. And that's where we come in at showing them the simple things that they can correct to get bigger funding. Like, why try to get 50,000 and under when you may be able to provide some documentation and get 100,000 and over? It could happen like that.
Right. Let's talk deeper about that, guys. So now, typically, what documents, let's say a worst case scenario, and they need to provide just almost everything, right? What type of documents should people prepare to bring?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, my first time out, I prepared from a mentor. I learned about this: 3 years tax returns, 3 years tax returns, 2 months bank statements, 2 pay stubs, and then what I would do is check your credit.
Yeah.
You know, actually check your credit. Most business owners, they kind of assume what their credit score is or where it was before, and they don't look at it. So, you know, like you tell people, your audience all the time, look at your credit.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the worst case scenario. You know, I would say 3 years taxes, 2 months bank statements, 2 pay stubs, and I would look at your credit report to see where you stand.
Got it. Got it. So that's another piece as well too. And so what you're saying is obviously people, they know if they have a higher score, like you mentioned, the process is going to be easier. But that's the thing. There's a lot of banks that are out there. Do you all have access to banks for people that don't have the best credit?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
We actually have lenders where they'll look at bank statements. It's like no credit check. It doesn't depend on your credit. It depends on your business, because ultimately that's what the bankers are looking at. Do you have cash flow?
Yeah.
So you could have strong cash flow, but horrible credit. Yeah. And you may not get the best terms. I'll be totally honest. When you have a poor credit score, you're going to be at the higher end of interest rates, or even a merchant cash advance, you know, or like a business loan advance. We have those. You know, what most people want to do, the best situation is have a great credit score, have your financials, and now we're talking 6 figures or maybe millions that you can borrow.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. And which, by the way, everyone watching this, I know, listen, if you haven't gotten your notepads out, now is the time to get the notepads out, okay? And also, too, if you all have more questions, and this is for the audience, if you guys are watching this, you have some questions, there's a QR code right at the top of the screen, okay? Make sure you all go ahead and scan that so you can all go learn more about, you know, how you can position yourself to get some of this funding as well, and learn how to get, let me see, how much was that? That's $150,000 up to, and if you need more, I'm sure there's ways to get, like they just said, millions that's available, but you have to meet those qualifications. So make sure you guys go ahead and scan that QR code so you can learn more about that as well. All right. Do you all have like a recent success story from someone, which if you guys could tell me how much they got in like what industry they were in, and just a little bit about like, if you knew like what their score was, or maybe their revenue, any recent success stories in the last 3 months, 6 months from someone?
Yeah, we got several. We
Okay,
have a physical therapist out of New Jersey. We met him at a conference, and you know, we told him briefly what we did. We became friends through the conference, and then one day he was like, Marv, you know, Gloria, I got to ask y'all something. Y'all said something at dinner and I want to revisit that. So I'm like, okay, cool. He was like, well, I'm having problems with my medical billing, you know, billing his clients. And he told us, I may need some more working capital. Can you help me with that? I was like, yeah, man, it's no problem. I said, I want you to jump in our mentoring program. Like, we don't want to charge clients 10% of whatever they get, like traditional funding companies, because that could get expensive. When you talk about 150, 250,000, you know, you'll put the client at risk, actually.
Yeah. And our goal is to teach you how to fish. So just say, for example, you want to open up another business. Well, we're going to teach you how to go out there and raise that capital. So once you come into our mentor program, you'll know how to go out there and get more capital for yourself.
Wow.
Our goal is not to cap you and say, hey, we want to charge you 10% and we're going to get the money for you, and then, you know, charge you 10% on top of that.
Right.
No, what we want to do is we want to show you how to go and get the money and what the bank is requiring, so that whatever you want to do, you know how to fish for yourself.
Exactly.
Wow. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. And again, people can learn that through that mentoring program. Now, can they learn more about that mentoring program if they book that call as well too?
Yeah, we'll give them a free business consultation where we'll go over their business, go over their cash flow, and go over their goals. Like, what are you really trying to accomplish? And then get on a realistic, you know, page where they understand what's realistic. Because sometimes people think, you know, it's pie in the sky and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna get all this money with no personal guarantee. Right. And we let them know, the more that you give the bank, the more information you give them, guess what? The more money you get. And then we're going to teach them to understand the banking products. And that's kind of goes back from where I first got started with this. Like everybody wants a line of credit, but really a line of credit is one of the hardest things to get from the bank because they don't make as much money.
Gotcha.
You know, you want to go towards a credit card or a loan in the beginning. Not saying that a line of credit is impossible, but you got to think the bank wants to make money.
Right. Correct. No, that makes a lot of sense. You saying, okay, so a line of credit, they don't push it as much as the other products because they're not making as, man, that's huge. Hope you guys are keeping up with this. Hope you guys are taking notes, you know, on this as well. To confirm, does the business industry matter, or is there a such thing as like high risk businesses, or does that play a role?
Yeah, it does. I mean, like, you know, as of right now, you know, real estate, trucking, those businesses are kind of high risk, but it kind of goes back to what can you articulate to the banker as, you know, what you do, you know, even if you're in that industry, are you teaching other truckers how to, you know, be profitable in the business? It's kind of like you can put a little spin on your business plan. And another thing we love to teach is sit down and have a business plan. Let your documents do the talking.
It's really important that businesses understand that your foundation is everything.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we teach in our mentorship is about how you set your business up. Because you want your business to grow. And you want, in order for your business to grow, your foundation needs to be very strong.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, like, for example, you know, you want to open a business or you're a business owner. In this day and age, there's no reason why you can't have good credit. Take the time out and fix your, there's so many tools out here, you know, in so many ways to fix your credit nowadays, very inexpensively. Like credit repair used to be a lot of money because we were one of those people that, you know, did credit repair. So we understand it, but now there's no excuse for having bad credit. So get your foundation. We all have, you know, goals and dreams of how we want to be these great business owners.
Right.
But you have to make sure that you're setting that foundation up correctly when you're talking about becoming a business owner.
Yeah.
Got you. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you most definitely dropped the gem there, is letting your documents do the talking for you. And, you know, again, that goes back into, you already have most of these docs anyway. There are people out here like Marvin and Gloria who will easily walk you through, you know, what you need to have, you know, to get the funding as well too. But listen, we're not gonna just have y'all on here just giving out all the information. So what's up with this restaurant? You said the restaurant is in Atlanta. What's the name of this restaurant?
Cafe Social House.
Cafe Social House. Make sure y'all go out and go support that in Atlanta. Okay, that must be nice. I know that's right. So that is absolutely amazing. Now I wanted to get your thoughts on this, since you all are business credit funding experts. What are your thoughts on when people, they don't really have a business, but they have the entity and they're trying to get funding? Do you think that banks frown upon that as much compared to someone that has an actual business with revenue, or do you all see a difference as far as the funding goes?
Yeah, like right now, and you know, as we are right now in the economy, it's getting harder if you're, you know, talking about no docs. I mean, I literally, right before we jumped on here, I talked to a lender and she said, Marvin, you know what, our guidelines just changed. Instead of 660, it's 680.
Yeah.
So you know, I see in the future, in the next couple of years, they're going to raise the bar as far as credit score. As far as, you know, do you have a brick and mortar? Do you have a virtual office? I believe all of these restrictions are going to get harder. And that's why right now we're gearing ourselves towards helping business owners figure out the pieces to the puzzle that they're missing. And a lot of times it's just having a good team, a good CPA, you know, a good bookkeeper to help you put these documents together.
And having QuickBooks. You know, we tell our clients all the time, you know, set yourself up with QuickBooks. You know, you can get money if you have QuickBooks. You know, it's those simple things that can really help you scale as a business if you just set your business up correctly going through the gate, you know?
And another thing, you know, to touch on what you just asked, instead of getting all these inquiries, doing credit card stacking and, you know, multiple LLCs, it's like, no, get this one company correct. And, you know, just to tell you a quick story.
Go ahead.
I got approved for $250,000 about 15 years ago. And I didn't stop there. Instead of going to get 50, I got 250. I went to 12 other banks, and guess what? None of them pulled my credit until they looked at all my documentation. And the meeting, when the guy asked me, he was like, well, you need to fill out this and fill out that. I said, sir, could you give me 1 second? I went out of my car and I got him an envelope that said 6 of 12. Actually, it was the first bank I went to.
Wow.
So he's sitting there thinking, oh, you got 12 of these. I said, yeah, I didn't say I went to 12 banks, but I did have 12 of them. And so they offered me the loan. I think a lot of us go into banks almost praying that we get a loan instead of, I knew I had everything in there. I had a credit report. I had my financial statement, my taxes, my pay stubs, everything.
Business plan.
Yeah, business plan. I had a business plan.
And 6 banks out of the 12 each bank gave him $250,000. Wow.
And I got $1.2 million just as easily as some of these strategies that people listen to try to get 50.
Yes.
And then you get all of these inquiries. The 6 that didn't approve me, they never pulled my credit.
I was watching TikTok the other day.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't stop laughing. It was it just tickled me. I was watching a young lady. I don't know who she was, but I was just watching. And it came across my feed, and she said, you know, everyone is asking how you can get approved for a loan or get money with a brand new LLC.
Yeah.
And she was like, so I went to such and such bank and they approved me for $5,000 on this LLC. And then I got another LLC that I can get $5,000 on and another LLC. See, I'm showing y'all how to get $50,000 just like that. I was like, really? Is that how to do that?
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
And you know what? You hit it right on the head, Marvin, is that it's a lot of work. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And you know what it is? People don't know what they don't know, right?
Right, correct.
And so they'll watch someone like, the young lady on TikTok and say, hey, this is how you do it. And then Gloria sees and says, well, you could do it that way, or you could actually just be legitimate and it's going to be a lot easier. Do it one time and get 50,000, get 150,000 just by showing, the right documentation. So now here's another thing too. So we have the funding. You guys have everything that's in place for business owners to get the funding. So make sure you guys go ahead, scan that QR code, go ahead and book that call as well. There was also, of course, if you all are looking to get 150,000 in business funding in 90 days, make sure you guys go ahead and learn about that as well. Now, another thing that I want to ask you all about is that you guys mentioned that you all knew about a credit union that was giving $50,000 in credit limits, unlike most traditional banks. If we could touch on that and how they can qualify for that.
Yes. That particular, we just made a video about it. As a matter of fact, it's
Awesome.
UNFCU. They have 2 credit cards where they have $50,000 limits that you can get approved for. It's actually several. And that's what we like to do. We like to have our clients get limited inquiries, but the biggest bang for that inquiry.
Yes.
If you set things up right, instead of having 5 different inquiries, because I don't know if your audience knows, but if you get too many check system inquiries, automatic denial. If you get too many cards within a certain length of time, automatic denial. So sometimes you'll get denied, you'll be getting denied before you apply.
Yeah. And you're wondering why, but it's because it's the little things that we just don't know, making sure that you don't go and open 10 bank accounts. There is really a cap on the number of bank accounts you should be opening per year. With check systems, because banks look at that. They want to know, why did you open up this, so many accounts? We know one person who opened up several. When he went to go open up another bank account, security flagged him. They flagged him.
They thought it was fraud.
They thought it was fraud. So it's really, really important that you keep those things in mind. And that's why Marvin and I do what we do, because we have a marketplace of banks that we can take you to.
Yeah.
We have direct relationships with banks, like, major banks. I'm not talking about little small banks. We're talking about major banks that can get you to the cash.
And I'll make sure I give you some approvals that say $150,000 over 10 years. So, you can get these large loans and have great terms, 1.5% over prime. So it's not crazy interest.
Yeah.
And, that's the main thing. Businesses need money. The number one reason why businesses fail is because of a lack of capital. And so what we try to teach business owners is not just, get enough money to start the business.
Yeah.
That's usually what we do as business owners.
Most
We get enough
definitely.
to start and then we just stop.
Right.
And that's what ends up hurting businesses. You should make it a system
Yes.
where at least every 6 months that you start looking for more capital, whether you need it or not.
Whether you need it or not.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't think a lot of people think about it like that, because it's almost as if I'd rather have it and not need it than for me to be in a position for me to need it and then not even have it or have access to it or can't even qualify for it. And so that most definitely plays a role. So again, that is, what was the name of that bank again?
UNFCU, which is the United Nations Federal Credit Union.
Wow.
They're offering $50,000 credit cards, the Elite card and the Azure card. And you can buy houses internationally, because we live in Puerto Rico. And now, we got into lending in different areas. Yeah.
That bank used to offer, it used
to be 100,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Credit card.
They just recently changed it.
Yeah.
A lot of times YouTube can help and it can hurt. I believe a couple of YouTube videos came out and they reduced the limits.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Wow. Right.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Right. It probably was y'all video too.
No, we haven't released
Sure.
it yet. We get ready to release it.
Oh, okay, got you, man. That is good information. That is good information. So now here's another thing as well too. So now you also mentioned because there are some people, and I love what Gloria just mentioned too, is that it's not just that you all obviously work with big banks, but people come to you all with different situations. Everyone has a different credit profile, business profile. And so the fact that you all have relationships, that's been built over years with a lot of these funding, opportunities, you all have now pretty much built your own kind of business funding marketplace, and so I think that that's huge, because it's a lot of people out here that's talking about business credit, business funding, but they're going off of what they heard or maybe what worked for them that one time, versus with you all, you've helped multiple people and actually have a mentorship that puts people in position for that. So that's amazing. That is amazing.
And I'll tell you one other thing. We've actually helped people with their own bank. Like sometimes, say we had a client one time, they had bad credit, but they had been banking with this one bank for years. We ended up getting them approved at their own institution because they had a relationship. And that's one thing we teach a lot. Relationship trumps credit score anytime.
It's everything.
We don't always look at, you got a bad credit score, we're not going to be able to help you. It could be a situation where if you've been with a credit union or a bank for several years, they'll approve you even though you have a not so good credit score.
Right.
Got you. Let's talk more about that. So now, what are some things that you all see, or what are some ways, I should say, that you can build a good relationship, with a bank, essentially? What are some things that you see like that people should be doing?
Well, a lot of times is when you open a bank account, you have to have some type of money flowing through that bank account.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're like, for example, if you're talking about the personal side and you're on payroll, just, put a line item in your payroll to have $20, $50 going to that account.
Yeah.
They want to see some type of activity within that account. They don't want you to just have an account and it's just sitting there and then you're coming to ask me for $150,000.
Right.
They want to see some type of activity, and everything nowadays is going to building a relationship.
Yeah.
It's so important to start building relationships with banks.
Yeah. And it's even the people inside the bank. It's not always credit scores and bank statements. It could be their actual relationship that they know that, hey, no, we've been doing business with Calvin for years.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we? He's always, paid his bills on time. He's never had NSF or insufficient fees. So you know what? A lot of times they can call the underwriter, or if it's a small enough bank, you may be able to deal with the president.
Most definitely.
That has happened as well.
Yeah, we've had that happen.
Yeah.
Wow, that's huge. And you know what? You hit it right on the head. It goes back into that relationship. I think people only think about that like on their personal side of life, like when they're trying to get a job or, something
Right.
like that, and, but to have a relationship, with some of these banks, especially as a business, because like you said, you might be able to talk to the decision maker, the person that's
Yes.
actually, doing that. I think that plays a major role. What are you all's thoughts on work, like having a relationship with the bank? But I'm starting to see that a lot of banks are starting to go, virtual. Should people be looking more so to work with banks that are on a local scale, or do you think that people, is there a difference really between walking inside the branch and then obviously being online?
Well, I would like to say I don't think we can ever remove the human element. So, I'm gonna lean more towards going inside the bank, talking to someone. But I can also say we actually have some great relationships with virtual banks. Like you got companies like SoFi. SoFi offers just about everything that any other bank would offer, but they're virtual. You won't see a SoFi branch. But when you go online, they have everything that any local branch will have.
And they're starting these online banks. I'm going to tell you, virtual banks are starting to add more products to make it more enticing to. And the interest rate is a lot higher. So if you're going to put your money somewhere and let it sit, why not get a better interest rate? You know?
And remember, the one lender, there's a new lender out that will actually help you start your LLC and open your bank account.
Most definitely.
Wait a minute. Hold up. We ain't got a name drop. Y'all ain't got to do that if y'all don't want to.
That's hot off the press.
That's hot.
Listen, y'all need to book that call to find that out. Okay, y'all need to book that call. But here, just so the audience heard that correctly, there is a new bank that does what again?
They will help you actually start your LLC with the Secretary of State and help you start your business bank account.
And it's not expensive.
Yeah, it's not expensive. They don't add a lot of fees. Yeah.
It's all in one. So they're going to, whatever state that you're in, they're going to file your paperwork for you. Get your account, get your business set up, and then set your business account up.
And we've seen that happen a lot. Like, to give you a bad, like a not so good story, we saw a client last week get denied because he forgot to pay his Secretary of State fees.
Yes.
He just totally forgot. I mean, just imagine he had great credit, good financials. Imagine that was 50,000 or 75,000 that went out the drain because he forgot to pay his state fees.
Yeah.
So that matters.
It does. No, that's key. That's very key. And see, like you mentioned, people forget about the things that to them is minor. They're thinking, oh, well, my score is this, my revenue is this, I'm solid. It's like, well, yeah, how's everything else looking? So in something as simple as paying those annual fees, for your state as well. So that most definitely plays a role. The last thing I want to go into is, because of course, some people, they still are big on getting, certain business credit cards. And like you mentioned, you don't necessarily have to go with the stacking route if you go with the funding route and you got your stuff in order. Okay. But there are some people that still say, okay, I still want a business credit card, but you all found out a way or figured out a way to help your clients get or learn how to get, if they wanted to, how to get a Chase business credit card without an LLC. Can we talk about that?
Yes. Usually, with Chase, you can actually be a sole proprietor, which means you can kind of use your name in the company name space as the company. So you're a sole proprietor and you can use that to get a business card with Chase. They don't really require that you're an LLC or a C Corp or S Corp. You can actually get their business card as a sole proprietor.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else they have to have, with that, or that's essentially what all they need to do as far as the application is concerned?
Essentially that's all they have to do, because if you don't have an LLC, you're probably not going to have an EIN number. So it's still going off of your personal credit, in order to get it. So you do have to have probably a 680 or above to get it. But Chase, for their business cards, they don't require that you're a LLC or a C Corp. You can actually get it as a sole proprietor. Yeah.
Wow. See, another gem. Y'all full of gems today. That is absolutely amazing. Well, of course, I know, you guys, again, helping so many people, getting business funding. And listen, guys, everyone can do this. All you need to do is just have your stuff in order, especially if you have a legitimate business. It's going to be easier to do this. Don't get me wrong. If you all are looking to do it with no docs, we got videos on that. But if you say, you know what, I actually got my stuff in order, perfect, then it's going to be a lot easier as well. So make sure you guys reach out to Marvin and Gloria about this as well. Make sure you all book a call. And then also, too, was there anything else you all wanted to leave to the audience today before we wrap up?
I have one little small gem that I want to drop for them.
Sure, let's do it.
I know that this is major. So this is a small gem that I wanted to drop because us being business owners, I know how hard it is to have payroll. Like Marvin and I have, on one side of our business, we had 24 employees. And then on the restaurant side of the business, we also had about 18 employees inside the restaurant. Okay. And that can be very challenging sometimes with payroll, you know. So we do book that call because we do have a company that, long as you have 6 months of bank statements, we can get, they will help you pay your payroll. As long as you're running payroll with a major payroll company.
Like ADP or Hardman.
QuickBooks.
QuickBooks. You need to have 2 or more employees. As long as you have that, they can help you float your payroll. So, you know, it's amazing. And I know that's major for a lot of small businesses.
Especially now.
Payroll eats up a lot of your income.
So, so essentially you can have a payroll line of credit.
Yes.
Wow. See, y'all giving too much now. Now we got to put y'all cash app at the bottom for these people watching. Oh, that's absolutely amazing. Well, listen, as you all can see, Gloria and Marvin, they most definitely got everything that you need to know about getting not just business money, but at least learning about this. This isn't something that you all have to talk to them on Friday and then, you know, get the money on Monday or Tuesday. Not saying that couldn't happen. I'm more so saying get the information and say, okay, let me at least learn about this, and so I can decide which route I want to go with. Thank you guys so much, actually, for being here, taking that time away from your schedule, all of your multiple businesses, just to go ahead and talk to today's audience. We greatly appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.